まだ立っている。でも致命傷だ。
Mada means still. 立っている is the present continuous of the verb 立つ which means to stand. First, we turn it into its te form. We see it's a godan type verb with tsu ending. So this tsu becomes te, tatte. Now we stick iru at the end. Tatteiru to be standing.
Nice.
Here you can check some easy examples with other verbs.
空いてる席にどうぞどうぞ。
Demo means but. 致命傷 means fatal wound, which is actually the mix of the words 致命 fatal or lethal and 傷 wound. Da is a declarative character. It's used to state something, so we can translate it as is. Joining it all together we get she's still standing, but it's a fatal wound.
にゃ。そうだ。とどめを。
Totome means final blow. Wo is a particle that connects a direct object with a verb. Check some of the following examples.
But here, it doesn't seem like it connects anything.
Well, the phrase is actually incomplete. This could also be done on purpose, so it seems like Fern got scared by something. This totomeo is part of the expression totomeo sas, which means to deliver a final blow.
何が起こった？攻撃された。
Nani means what. Ga is a particle that indicates the subject of the sentence. Okotta comes from the verb okoru, which means to occur or to happen. We see ta at the end, so we know it's in its informal past form. Godan type verb with ru ending. So this ru becomes ta. Okotta, occurred or happened. Nani ga okotta? What happened? Kogeki means attack. However, if we stick suru right next to it, it becomes kogeki suru, to attack. Sareta is the passive past tense of the form suru. This is way easier than it sounds, just bear with me for a little. Kogeki suru, when it's in its passive form, becomes kogeki sareru. Remember, sareru is the passive form of suru. What does this passive form do to our verb? Well, now to attack becomes to be attacked. Check some of these examples.
空いてる席にどうぞどうぞ。
Now we have to turn it into its past tense form. The passive form follows the same rules of the ichidan type verbs. This means that the last ru becomes ta in its past form, and that gives us kogeki sareta, was or were attacked. Therefore, we have what happened? Was I attacked?
魔力を全く感じない。
Maryoku is a combination of the kanji for demon or witch, ma, and force, chikara. If you're wondering why we don't say chikara, it's because it's often read as ryoku when it's combined with other kanji. We looked over o a moment ago. Remember? This means that there's a verb, whether or not explicitly, affecting the state of magic power. Mattaku means completely. Kanjinai is the negative form of the verb kanjiru, which means to feel or to sense. This is an ichidan type verb, so in order to achieve this negative form, we just have to change the last ru to nai, kanjinai, to not feel or to not sense. From looking at these meanings separately and trying to bulk them together, it seems that we get, I don't completely feel the magic power. However, when we find this mattaku in a negative sentence such as this one, it becomes at all. For example, mattaku wakaranai, I don't understand at all. And that leaves us with I don't feel or sense magic power at all.
この攻撃を私は魔法として認識できていない。
Kono means this, and we find 攻撃 again, that's attack. Wo means that there's a verb affecting this noun. Watashi means I or me. Wa is a particle that indicates the topic of the sentence. Maho means magic. Toshite means as. Let me show you some easy examples. Therefore, this means as magic. Ninshiki is a noun that means recognition, as in being aware of something or distinguishing something. Dekiteinai comes from the verb dekiru, to be able to. In its te form, ichidantai verb plus ru becomes te. Now we stick iru, just as we have seen right at the start of this video with the verb tatsu. Do you remember? In this case, we went from dekiru, to be able to dekiteiru, being able to. We are not quite there yet though. What does this nai tell us? It means that the verb is in its negative form. Iru is an ichidan-tai verb. In its negative form, we just slap off the last ru and change it to nai. Dekiteinai, not being able to. Going over again, we have this attack, I as magic, recognition, not being able to. And we can interpret it as I'm not being able to recognize this attack as magic. Subscribe to this channel if you find this content useful, and don't forget to leave a like, that helps us a lot with the algorithm. See you next Sunday. じゃあね。